Thank you, Victor. Thank you very much for having me, guys. And just a quick thank you. I am pinch hitting for the author Andrew Moranis, thank you, who wrote the definitive Glenn Burke biography called Singled Out. Highly recommend to all of you, and a lot of the facts in there kind of form the basis of what I'm about to talk about right now. So, if you were to take a quick glance at Glenn Burke's baseball reference page, and I am the kind of gay who goes to baseball reference all the time, you wouldn't see much to distinguish him from thousands of other baseball players. He played 4 years with the Dodgers and A's, hit .237 with 2 home runs, and stole 35 bases. It's a legit career, but none of the numbers jump off the page at you. Which is partly why today I am so proud and uplifted that Burke is being inducted into the Legacy Walk, because you've got to go beyond the stats to see it's the story of his life celebrated on this plaque that reveals Glenn Burke was a unique and singular figure in baseball history and a genuine hero. There has been no one like him before or since, and he made baseball a much better game. To date, as Laura referenced, there have been precisely 3 known gay players in Major League Baseball history. To put that into perspective, there are now 15 times as many living world champion Chicago Cubs as known gay players total. And Glenn Burke was the first. As with other barrier breakers like Jackie Robinson and Roberto Clemente, when we think of Glenn Burke, a gay black man trying to find his way in the baseball culture of the 1970s, the first thing we focus on was bravery. It was every bit as conceivable as you'd imagine, as considerable as you'd imagine. Burke never came out publicly during his time in baseball, but after being called up and establishing himself with the Dodgers in 1977, he never hid who he was either, oftentimes going off by himself to explore neighborhoods like the Castro. And most of his teammates figured out he was gay pretty quickly. And it's worth emphasizing again, this was 1977, less than a decade after Stonewall. The same year that overrated citrus shill Anita Bryant helped repeal an anti-discrimination law in Miami. And at this same time, as a public figure and a rookie, no less, Burke was joining Tommy Lasorda's openly gay son, Tommy Jr., at all the clubs in WeHo. And, incidentally, supporting him as a gay man much more than Tommy Sr. ever did. For all of Burke's considerable athletic gifts, his greatest attributes were courage and humanity. Just like Robinson and Clemente before him, Burke exuded these qualities with his whole being. And that's why he was able to break barriers for the gay community in a traditional and conservative sport like baseball. But in focusing on his bravery, we should also not forget a vital aspect of Burke's baseball life. All of his teammates knew he was gay, and they loved him. Glenn Burke was fun. Like he was a rookie who arrived at the Dodgers clubhouse in mid-season in a pennant race and immediately became the life of the clubhouse. Brought a boombox into the locker room, cranked the volume on disco hits from Donna Summer to Chic to Grace Jones. He freestyle rapped smack talk at all his teammates, quoted Richard Pryor bits, and stuffed a pillow down his jersey for a devastating Tommy Lasorda impression. Glenn Burke zhuzhed up baseball before zhuzh was even a word. He also transcended cliques and was beloved by teammates who ran the gamut from Dusty Baker, a baseball hipster who oozed cool and listened to Miles Davis, to Steve Garvey, a supposedly clean-cut, all-American boy who is currently, this is true, Republican candidate for senator from California. Yeah. These Dodgers agreed on nothing, except they adored Glenn Burke for being his authentic self. And to borrow a quote from Vin Scully, in a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened. Burke also gave baseball some zazz on the field, and that's where you find his legacy most frequently today. During the final game in 1977, his teammate Dusty Baker stepped in against J.R. Richard, a 6'8" mountain of badassery with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and Dusty cranked his 30th home run of the year. Burke was waiting for him at home plate to celebrate with his hand outstretched in the air, and Baker spontaneously reached up and smacked it to pull off the first high five anyone in baseball had ever seen. And then, this is also true, Burke stepped in against Richard himself and hit his first career home run, after which he and Baker executed the second high five anyone had ever seen. And if you watch baseball today, home run celebrations are all over the map, and they're incredible. Julio Rodriguez lifting up the Mariners' trident, Joey Votto and his teammates dressing up like Vikings and running to the camera. Props, costumes. Home runs have become 11 o'clock numbers on Broadway, because all great things become even better when you make them gayer. And that is what Glenn Burke was all about. And as we mentioned before too, as we celebrate Burke's life, we owe it to him to remember all of his tragedies as well. After his successful rookie season, the Dodgers called him in for a meeting and offered him $75,000 to get married to a woman. When he refused, they traded him to the woeful Oakland Athletics, where he ran afoul of bigoted manager Billy Martin. And one of his last acts as a major leaguer was getting in a fight in the parking lot with homophobic hecklers. After quitting baseball, Burke experienced homelessness, grappled with addiction, and died of AIDS in 1995. And it is essential we remember these aspects of his life as well, because this was the cost of being a proud gay trailblazer in a baseball world where those in power were lined up to silence him. It's a reminder of the progress we've made as a community since the 1970s, but also a threat of what our world could look like if we don't commit to continuing the fight for our rights every single day. Just this past week, I had the incredible privilege of writing a story for Outsports about two college baseball players named Cole Philpott and Aiden Phipps. They met when their respective schools played each other on the field in March and struck up an Instagram friendship that grew and grew until eventually they realized they were developing feelings for one another. Cole subsequently helped Aiden come out to his family as bisexual, and these two opponents on the field have been dating since June. They found love and support from so many places, but especially from their teammates. And making that kind of story possible is Glenn Burke's most important legacy. As MLB statistical guru Sarah Langs is often fond of tweeting out, baseball is the best. And one of the biggest reasons it's the best is because Glenn Burke played the game. Thank you.